Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into something that feels, well, essential. Maybe more so now than ever before. Think about it.
Hmm.
We're born with this deep inherent drive to connect with others, right? It's fundamental to who we are.
Absolutely. It's wired into us from the very beginning. We need those social bonds.
And yet, here's the striking paradox we see today, and something the material we're exploring from the book Missing Each Other zeroes in on. In a world hyper-connected by technology, why do so many of us feel increasingly lonely, isolated, and profoundly disconnected?
Hmm.
We're busy, notifications pinging, scrolling through feeds, and it seems this constant digital interaction isn't translating into the deep connection we crave.
It really highlights a critical difference, doesn't it, between the sheer volume of interactions we might have and the quality of those connections.
Exactly. More connections, perhaps less depth. And that brings us to the heart of this deep dive,
Hmm.
the concept they call attunement. The book translates it with beautiful Japanese word te, which means harmony. They describe attunement as this remarkable ability to be truly aware of ourselves and another person simultaneously,
Uh-huh.
creating the conditions for deep, meaningful connection.
It sounds like being fully present, really allowing for a true resonance between people.
That's it. So our mission in this deep dive is to go through these insights from Missing Each Other, to understand what attunement really is, why it's not just, nice to have, but absolutely crucial across our lives.
Right.
The significant forces working against it in the modern world, and maybe most importantly, how it's framed not as some mystical gift, but as a practical skill.
A skill we can actually cultivate and improve. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's explore that. How exactly does the book define attunement for us?
Well, they frame it as the very core of how we react and relate, sort of the engine driving the process of building relationships. They bring in Daniel J. Siegel, who describes it like this. Attuning with someone changes us internally.
Internally. Okay.
Yeah, it creates a resonance with their inner world, and this resonance is fundamental to the feeling of intimacy in relationships
Hmm.
and is vital for our development and connection throughout our entire lives.
So it's not static.
Yeah.
It's an active, transformative process. It literally shifts our internal state when we connect.
Precisely. It's this capacity to perceive and understand the psychological and emotional state of another person. Think about the subtle cues, like understanding a baby's cry beyond just the sound, instinctively sensing their need.
Right. You just know.
Or picking up on the true feeling behind someone saying, I'm fine, when, every part of their body language tells a different story.
You're sensing what's beneath the surface.
Yeah.
And they describe it as a full body experience,
Mhm.
right? Not just mental.
Yes, exactly. A full body experience involving both physical, kinesthetic, and emotional layers.
Hmm.
It's about feeling the other person's rhythm, their energy, their experience.
Okay.
It moves beyond just empathy or sympathy, which can sometimes keep you separate, to create a genuinely shared two-person connected experience.
A shared experience
Yeah.
that feels important. And you can't have that without being aware of yourself as well as them. Sure.
Absolutely not. It fundamentally requires both that inward awareness, tuning into your own body, feelings, thoughts, and outward awareness,
Right.
picking up all those cues from the other person. They use the powerful example of comforting someone who is grieving.
Okay.
You need to be acutely aware of their sorrow, but you also need to be aware of your own emotions that might be triggered.
Right. Like your own past losses or just the difficulty of seeing pain.
Exactly, maybe old memories of loss or just the difficulty of witnessing pain. They make the crucial point that this self-awareness, paradoxically, helps you stay grounded and focused on them, preventing your own stuff from overwhelming your ability to be present.
That's so counterintuitive. You'd think being aware of your own triggered feelings would pull you away,
I know.
but it anchors you instead.
It does. It's about noticing your reaction without being consumed by it, so you can stay available for their experience.
Okay, that makes sense. So if this is what it is, why does it matter so deeply? Why is it more than just a nice relationship skill?
Well, the material really underscores the absolute fundamental human need for social bonds. They cite compelling evidence. Social deprivation in infancy literally impacts brain development and the later ability to form secure attachments.
Oh, yeah.
And in adulthood, this was a wake-up call for me.
Important.
Social isolation has been shown to have negative impacts on health and longevity,
Well, negative.
comparable to well-known risk factors like obesity or smoking.
Smoking. Comparing social isolation's health impact to smoking. That's a powerful statement.
Isn't it? It highlights how physical this need for connection really is.
It really does.
And while there are evolutionary roots for connection, survival, safety, the book also touches on altruism, like helping strangers,
Hmm.
suggesting there's more than just a utilitarian drive. We have this fundamental need for deep emotional bonds, whether platonic or romantic.
And attunement is the engine of those bonds.
It's the foundation for quality relationships. It's not just about spending time together. It's about the depth of understanding, the genuine attention, the mutual engagement.
Okay.
They measure the quality by how well people truly listen, understand, and mutually respond to each other,
Wow.
using everything from words to eye contact, expressions, body language, the whole package.
So it's the how of relating, not just the what. Where do we see this playing out in real life? The examples they give are fascinating.
Oh, everywhere. It's vital in parenting, right?
Yeah.
Creating that secure attachment so a child feels truly seen and understood.
Sure makes sense.
It's essential in friendships for mutual support. It's the basis of intimacy in romantic relationships.
And it spills into the professional world, too, I imagine.
Absolutely. Leadership, team dynamics, client relationships, navigating conflict. They point out that stress often hijacks communication, leads to those knee-jerk reactions.
Definitely.
Cultivated attunement skills allow you to respond thoughtfully, not just react. And here's another one of those counterintuitive insights.
Oh?
Staying attuned and connected during conflict can actually make you more effective in getting your point across.
Really? Yeah.
Because you're actually dealing with what's happening in the room between you, not just your assumptions or your prepared speech.
Ah, so instead of talking past each other, you're trying to stay with each other, even when you disagree.
Right. But they also bring in some truly surprising places where this skill shines.
Like where?
The creative and performance arts, music improvisation is a perfect example they use.
Oh, interesting.
Musicians like Kenny Wheeler and John Taylor, mentioned in the book, spent decades developing this incredible level of attunement. It's about deeply understanding your own playing and the other musicians, constantly adjusting in this dynamic flow, leading and following.
Like a conversation in music.
Exactly. There's that great quote about their music having this subtle harmony, this uncanny ability to know where the other was heading musically.
Wow.
That's attunement in sound.
Yeah, they weren't just technically brilliant. They were relationally brilliant in that musical space.
And comedy, too. Stand-up or working with a partner like a duo.
Yes. Comedians need that relaxed awareness. They're constantly sensing the audience's energy, adapting dynamically. Jerry Lewis, talking about working with Dean Martin, captured this attunement perfectly. He said Martin knew his timing so well, understood what he was trying to do, that he could jump in and save him on stage if something went wrong.
He knew when I was breathing. He knew how to save me. That's the quote, right?
That's it.
That's deep trust in attunement.
It is. Yeah. And it's not necessarily about agreeing with the other person.
Yeah.
It's about understanding their perspective, sensing their state,
Right.
and using that information to keep the interaction flowing effectively, whether it's music, comedy, or just a conversation.
So, if attunement is this vital, this pervasive, what is making it feel so scarce today? The book points a clear finger at, well, the modern context.
Yeah, they take a deep dive into the impact of technology and social media, and their view is pretty powerful. Tech has exploded the quantity and frequency of our connections, but too often it diminishes their depth and quality.
That resonates with so many people's experience, doesn't it, that feeling?
It does. Screen-based communication constantly vies for our attention, pulls us away from face-to-face interactions.
Right.
This makes it harder for us to develop those vital in-person skills. It can also leave us feeling isolated amidst a huge virtual crowd, potentially leading to this vicious cycle where we use more tech to try and numb the very loneliness it might be contributing to.
It's like searching for genuine human warmth in the glow of a screen. Doesn't quite work.
No. And the book goes broader, too, referencing other societal issues, what they call the dark side of a profit-driven, individualistic culture.
Okay, what do they mean by that?
Where everything, even relationships sometimes,
Yeah.
can start to feel transactional or like a commodity. This feeds into a lack of community, contributes to relationship breakdown, and fuels loneliness.
They mentioned Cornel West and Arthur Miller's idea of the American sickness of unrelatedness. That phrase really stuck with me.
Yes, highlighting a cultural mindset that perhaps prioritizes individual gain over valuing genuine community and connection. The statistics they cite are sobering. A 2018 Cigna study showing extremely high loneliness rates in the U.S.,
Yeah.
particularly among young adults, Gen Z, where like 68% reported feeling that no one truly understands them.
68%. Wow.
Yeah. And then, of course, the pandemic lockdowns and social distancing measures just intensely amplified this,
Oh, absolutely.
making the profound pain of loneliness palpable for so many more people.
That's a difficult reality. And they make sure to clarify that loneliness isn't just about being alone, right? It's different. Yeah.
Exactly. It's defined by dissatisfaction with the quality of your connections.
Mhm.
You could be surrounded by people online or in person, but if those connections lack depth and genuine understanding, you can still feel profoundly lonely.
Right.
Having even just one person you feel you can truly rely on
Hmm.
is shown to be a powerful buffer against loneliness.
Just one.
Just one can make a huge difference.
Mhm.
Reduces depression, improves resilience.
So it's not about the number of friends on your profile. It's about the few people who genuinely see and hear you. Okay. The book then offers a way to understand and practice this, breaking attunement down into 4 components.
Right. They separate them out to make them easier to grasp and work with, but they emphasize that in reality, they're deeply interwoven and work together. They're not really separate steps.
Got it. What's the first component?
Relaxed awareness. This is the absolute base,
Yeah.
the foundation. It's the ability to be aware of yourself, your physical sensations, feelings, thoughts, and your environment, while staying calm and settled. They use a clinical example. A therapist, Ashley, consciously models relaxed awareness and posture with her patient, Caleb.
Uh-huh.
Her calm presence creates a safe space that allows Caleb to open up. When you're relaxed and aware, you're simply more available to notice and be present with the other person.
That makes sense if you're tense or distracted, you're stuck in your own head, right? Not open to anything else.
Exactly. That relaxed state allows the second component, listening.
Which, as we discussed, is way more than just hearing words.
Much more. It's paying close attention to the other person's verbal communication, yes, but just as much to their nonverbal cues, their expressions, body language, tone of voice, and it involves noticing your own physical and emotional reactions as you listen. Building on relaxed awareness, you can take in more of this subtle information. In the Caleb example, the therapist isn't just hearing his words, she's listening just as intently to his hunched posture, his clasped hands, his avoidance of eye contact.
Right. All that stuff that tells a story.
Exactly. This gives her a much richer picture of his state, speaking as loudly as his words sometimes.
So listening is about receiving all that input outward from them, inward from yourself.
Yes. Which then leads naturally to the third component, understanding.
Okay.
This is the process of interpreting that flood of information you've gathered through listening. It's making sense of their cues, trying to grasp their perspective, their intentions, and understanding the meaning of your own reactions.
This feels like the more cognitive step, maybe, after the sensing of listening.
It is. Listening is the receiving, the gut-level resonance, you could say. Understanding is the processing, the cognitive work that builds on that. Going back to Caleb, the therapist observes physical cues, like clenched hands or a bouncing knee, and interprets those alongside his words and her own empathetic feelings to understand the depth of his emotional pain over his lost friendship. It's putting the pieces together to form a coherent picture.
Okay, so we have the base of relaxed awareness, then listening to receive all the information and understanding to process it and grasp meaning. What's the final component?
Mutual responsivity.
Yeah.
This is the dynamic, active part, the back and forth exchange, the dance of staying connected through the interaction.
Dance. I like that.
It's about matching the other person's pace, their style, the flow. It's the quality that makes a conversation feel natural and alive. The book notes how incredibly complex this is, something AI still really struggles with, that subtle dynamic responsiveness.
Right. You can't easily code genuine conversational flow, can you?
No. They illustrate this with the therapist Ashley having a brief moment of disconnect with Caleb. Her mind wanders for a second.
Happens to everyone.
Totally. And this is key. They emphasize that breaks in attunement are inevitable in real human interaction. Normal. But the vital part is the repair. Ashley realizes he drifted, maybe subtly shifts her body language, and gently brings her focus back, perhaps by asking Caleb to repeat himself.
So relationships aren't about never breaking attunement, but about the ability to repair those breaks. That feels achievable.
Precisely. Real connection involves breaks and repair. But accumulating unrepaired breaks, that's what erodes the connection over time. Mutual responsivity is about staying engaged in that dynamic exchange, even when it's clunky or difficult sometimes.
This framework really helps make it tangible, doesn't it? And the truly hopeful message is that this isn't just a fixed trait you either have or don't.
Not at all. That's one of the most empowering takeaways from the material, I think. Attunement is presented as a trainable skill, something like a muscle that gets stronger with practice.
Like going to the gym for your connection skills.
Kind of. You can absolutely improve it at any point in your life, regardless of your past experience.
And the book provides ways to do that, specific exercises.
Yes, they offer progressive practices. They draw on traditions like mindfulness and meditation, which makes sense.
Sure.
But also, interestingly, Tai Chi. The key is they focus on making these skills practical for everyday life, taking them off the cushion, so to speak,
Right.
and integrating them into your interactions in the kitchen, at work, with friends, on dates, real-life stuff.
Why Tai Chi? That seems like an unusual connection for attunement.
Well, they explain Tai Chi as a systematic, step-by-step method that uses nonverbal communication, body movement, balance, flow.
Ah, the physical aspect again.
Exactly, as a way to cultivate these very fundamental skills of relaxed awareness, sensing, and dynamic responsiveness in a physical, embodied way. It's practiced through movement.
Interesting. And they mention an attunement quiz. What's that about?
Yes, they include that as a tool for self-assessment. Helps you identify your current strengths and maybe challenges in these areas,
Uh-huh.
so you know where to focus your practice most effectively, kind of a starting point.
So while individual practice can't fix the huge societal issues contributing to loneliness we talked about,
Right. It's not a magic bullet for everything.
cultivating your own attunement skills can profoundly improve your personal connections.
Absolutely. And they add an important point. Developing this skill also makes you much less susceptible to manipulation.
How so?
You become more discerning, better at sensing what's genuine and what isn't, both in yourself and others. You trust your gut more, maybe.
That's a valuable side effect.
Yeah.
So bringing it all together then, what does this exploration into attunement, this idea of harmony, really mean for us?
I think it means that cultivating attunement is a powerful investment in your own life and relationships. It deepens your closest bonds, sharpens your communication,
Yeah.
equips you to navigate conflict constructively, enhances your professional interactions, and empowers you to make wiser choices about who you connect with.
It sounds like a continuous practice, though, not a goal you just achieve and then you're done.
Exactly. They describe it as an ongoing dynamic process, like that dance metaphor.
Hmm.
It requires continuous attention and effort.
Mm-hmm.
There will be moments of being out of step, but the practice is in finding your way back into harmony, again and again, repairing the breaks.
This journey through the insights from missing each other really gives us both a vocabulary, a way to talk about this, and a practical path forward. Even facing all the modern challenges to connection, the capacity for deep, meaningful interaction is fundamentally within our grasp. It's hopeful.
It reminds us of the human potential for genuine connection, even in what feels like a pretty disconnected world sometimes.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. What if cultivating individual attunement wasn't just about improving your own handful of relationships, but had, ripple effects?
Go on.
If more and more people practiced this skill, bringing more relaxed awareness, better listening, deeper understanding, and more responsive presence into their daily interactions, could it subtly contribute to shifting the tide? Maybe. Fostering a little more understanding and connection in the wider world, even in small, unexpected ways.
That's a powerful thought. Small changes, big impact potentially. Something worth thinking about for sure.